Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for all things marketing. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, today I have Mike Goldberg on the line. He's editor-in-chief over at Vonage. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so excited to get today's topic. So we're going to get into content strategy. I mean, you do this day in and day out over at Vonage. But before we get into that, let's go a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career?
Yeah, so I studied journalism and English in college, and my dream was to be a writer or a reporter. So I got out of college and started writing for some websites back in the dot-com boom. And as the boom happened, the bust happened, and I was out of work. So looking for something to do, I quickly realized that there was a lot of need for good writers in marketing. So I kind of jumped into marketing very early on and, was doing a lot of writing, and I didn't realize that marketing there was so much writing involved in marketing, but as it turns out, telling stories is really what marketing is about. So I was able to take my writing skills and journalistic sensibilities and apply that to marketing. And I've really been doing content for the past 20 years, way before they coined it content.
Before
marketing.
It was called content marketing. I was
Right.
just going to say, you're like, we just called it doing our job back then, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So, Mike, tell us a little bit more about Vonage and what you're up to there, please.
Yeah, so Vonage has been around for 20, 25 years, and they started as a residential phone service. I think maybe a lot of people, or older people like myself, remember those commercials from back in the early 2000s. But they really pivoted away from the residential phone space into being more of a B2B telecommunications provider. So they help companies manage all of their communications, their APIs, all the different applications that help businesses have employees do remote work, help businesses have all that back end, have agents talk to customers through mobile apps. So really in driving B2B communications. And I recently joined there about 3 months ago. I was in the office really only a week or two before all of the world just changed. But because we are a telecommunications company, switching to remote work has been very easy. But yeah, I've been leading our content team, just putting together like what our mission is for our brand messaging and the kind of stories that we want to tell our customers.
That's awesome. And I think that's also a great transition. So content strategy, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives out there listening, and you're a veteran again. Before content strategy was a thing, you were doing it. Where do you want to start with this topic? Like, what should business owners and entrepreneurs out there be thinking of when developing their content strategy?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that everyone needs to know is what's the goal of your messaging and your storytelling? I mean, it all should align to brand. And when you're telling a brand story, you've got to think about the customer first. So, good content really has to be something for your audience, and it can't be about you. I think a lot of people, what I've seen personally through my years, is a lot of people believe that content is a sales tool. And while it should ultimately drive prospects to become customers, you can't just start going out and pitching and doing your elevator pitch in a blog or article. So it's really about understanding what your goals are, what your audience's needs are, and really giving them something of value and really creating that story for them and not you. I always like to say it's about telling, not selling. And there's a lot of education that needs to happen from people that just don't understand that, because, an engaging story shouldn't be a 5-paragraph product pitch with features and benefits.
That doesn't count. So, Mike, I'm glad you said that, by the way, because that's where I wanted to go next. I think a lot of people, for you you're a professional in this business, for you to say to create value, that's like common sense to you. But for somebody that's not in that business, the thought process of creating value through creating content is kind of novel / sometimes the gray area, like they don't know. So even though I laughed at that, I'm like, that doesn't count. Some people don't know that doesn't count. Can you talk a little bit more about what it means to truly create value into your target segment, whatever that segment is?
Yeah, and so again, it comes back to what I was saying. Like, you have to understand what your prospects and even your customers, when you're trying to upsell, what they need, what are their challenges. Of course, you want everyone to come back and talk to your salesperson, and you want to talk to them one-on-one and hopefully sign a deal or close business. But really, you have to really understand what do they need to help them do their job better. In the long run, you can worry about whether or not they come back to you and call you to sign a contract. But really, you have to give that value is giving them something that makes their job easier. And, I like to think that starts really like that top funnel, exploring, they're searching for things because they have a problem. So they're looking for an answer. And good content should be the answer to everyone's question, especially your customers. That's how I kind of think about where that value begins.
That's awesome. And I agree with that. When you think top of funnel, you don't have permission to make the sale yet or to ask for the sale. Sure, you might get lucky on some, but that's not the point for your broader strategy long term. So, no, I love it. It's great stuff. So Mike, you've been in the industry a long time, been creating content a long time. What excites you right now? Like, what are you seeing in the market? It could be technology, it could be style, it could be, whatever it is. What, from your vantage point, kind of excites you in content marketing and content strategy overall right now?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say, and this is not, I don't like to give you the product pitch for Vonage, because we enable. I want you to be excited. If you're excited about Vonage, put it this way: you've been in the business this long. You just joined Vonage. You've been there 3 or 4 months. You better be excited. Pitch us. Tell us what excites you about Vonage. Yeah, well, it's this remote work. The world has changed. Everyone's now a remote worker, whether they like it or not. And things are starting to slowly open, hopefully maybe a little quicker than what we can expect. But people are going to start going back to the office, maybe. I don't know. While some of our daily lives will go back to normal, I don't think everyone's going to be rushing to work back in an office 5 days a week. So there's a lot of trying to understand ways to enable remote work or semi-remote telecommunication from home, and there's a lot of different platforms and technology to enable that. Vonage has a lot of different platforms and tools that help large enterprise businesses and even small and medium businesses not just have their employees work from home, but enable that business mobile with their customers. So that's really interesting to me. There's so many things you can write about on that topic from a writing perspective of all the different tools and best practices. So, that's where my mind is at right now, and I would think a lot of people are thinking that as well right now.
Man, talk about not saying we'd ever want this to happen, anything negative like what is happening, but you landing and being at Vonage during this time to create content. I mean, it's really the renaissance of this whole new thing of recreating or telling the story of what this new normal looks like, and you're smack in the middle of it for business owners right now. That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Mike, that being said, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more either about your work and what you're doing or also about Vonage and what Vonage offers and the services, what's the best way for people to follow up?
Well, of course, if they want to learn more about remote work and telecommunications, they can go to Vonage.com. I would recommend people check out our resources section. That's where a lot of our educational thought leadership content lives. So you don't have to feel like you're reading product spec sheets. Just you'll learn more about the industry. And I have an article in there. And if you're a fan of the TV show The Office, I kind of put out a scenario of what it would look like if the TV show The Office had a become a remote office. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
that is hilarious, Mike. That's what you call providing value, because I'm already laughing and I can't even. Michael Scott is like remote. Can you imagine having that guy in a Zoom or on any on any platform?
Right, exactly. That's why I had a lot of fun writing it. So I hope people have fun reading that. Again, I don't mention Vonage. It lives on our site, but I'm just trying to tell a story that hopefully engages somebody, and then they can take the next step and visit deeper down into our site. So, yeah, I definitely tell people check that story out. And then I have my website where I have a lot of my work I've done throughout the years. Mike Goldberg B2B.com.
Fantastic. Well, Mike, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great stuff you're doing over at Vonage. And I'm looking forward to reading that article. That's funny. I can't wait. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review in the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of things and projects you're working on. And Mike, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks so much.